Today is the 16th of February, and here we go with the news for the day. The first one's about the Oxfam scandal. Brought by the Telegraph. Oxfam chief at centre of sex scandal hits out at lies and exaggerations. Roland Van Houwemeren, the former Belgian Oxfam CEO, at the centre of the burgeoning sex scandal that has rocked the charity sector, has claimed that allegations he hosted sex parties with prostitutes were lies and exaggerations. A lot of people, including the international media, will feel blushes on their cheeks when they hear my version of facts, the 68-year-old said from his apartment on the Belgian coast. There are things that are correctly described, but there are a lot of lies and exaggerations. Parties every week, chick villas, women paid with money from the organisation, he told the Belgian newspaper Head News Belge. Whatever you say. He said, now everything is exaggerated and that hurts. He said, now everything is exaggerated and that hurts, especially because my family does not want to see me anymore. I do not feel like reacting at all, he added. What am I aware appearing everywhere? It's hard to bear. It hurts. It's especially very bad to my family that my family does not want to see me anymore. But now I say too much again. Mr. Van Houwemeren, 68, resigned as Haiti country director for Oxfam before the end of 2011. 20 investigation into his use of prostitutes while administering aid in earthquake-hit and impoverished country. 4 members of Oxfam staff were dismissed and 3, including Mr. Van Houwemeren, left before the investigation had completed. Oxfam has denied cover-up, but the scandal has made headlines worldwide, with celebrities withdrawing their support and the government reviewing its funding of the charity. Mr. Van Houwemeren said he will soon release an official statement through his lawyer and hopes to be left alone. The Telegraph today revealed Oxfam refused to ban staff from using prostitutes, saying it would infringe their civil liberties. The next one's from Al Jazeera in English. South Africa, Ramaphosa's major challenges after Zuma. Cyril Ramaphosa has been elected to be the next president of South Africa, but the new leader will face challenges including high unemployment and lack of security on the streets. Ramaphosa is also still haunted by his involvement in the violent end of the mining strike in Marikana. With elections set for 2019, Ramaphosa will have to work fast before he faces the people again. Al Jazeera's Hoda El Hamid has more. End of article. Rowan's out! Said he's gone to Jordan's. The next one is from The Guardian. Robert Mueller charges 13 Russians with US election interference to help Trump. 13 Russians have been criminally charged for interfering in the 2016 US election to help Donald Trump, the official office of report of Robert Mueller, the special counsel, announced on Friday. Mueller's office said 13 Russians and 3 Russian entities, including a notorious state-backed troll farm, the Internet Research Agency, has been indicted by a federal grand jury in Washington, D.C. A 37-page indictment alleged that the Russians operated including supporting the presidential campaign of then candidate Donald Trump and disparaging Hillary Clinton, his Democratic opponent. Mueller alleged that Russian operatives communicated with unwitting individuals associated with the Trump campaign, but the indictment did not address the question of whether anyone else in Trump's team had knowingly colluded. Rod Rosenstein, a deputy attorney general, said at the press conference in Washington there is no allegation in the indictment that any American had any knowledge. Rosenstein added that the charges did not mean the Russian activity had an effect on the outcome of the election. Trump and the White House seized on Rosenstein's remarks to falsely claim that the indictment had proved there had been no collusion, and that the election result had definitely not been impacted. A statement on Friday, Trump suggested that he called outlandish partisan attack wild and false allegation and far-fetched theories relating to possible collusion, while serving to further the Russian agenda. The Russians allegedly posed as Americans to operate bogus social media accounts, buy advertisements and stage political rallies. They stole the identities of real people in the US to post online and build computer systems in the US to hide the Russian origin of their activity, according to prosecutors. The indictment serves as a reminder to the people that people are not always who they appear on the internet, said Rosenstein. He alleged that the Russians had worked to promote discord in the United States and undermine public confidence in democracy, adding we must not allow them to succeed. The state that from as far back as 2014, the defendants conspired together to defraud the US by impairing, obstructing and defeating the lawful functions of government through interference with the American political and electoral process. One defendant, Yevgeny Prigozhin, is accused of using companies he controlled, including Concord Management, Consulting and Concord Catering, to finance the operations against the US. The operation at one stage had a monthly budget of $1.25 million, according to Mueller, which paid for operators' salaries and bonuses. The events were organized by Russians posing as Trump supporters and groups opposed to Trump, such as Black Lives Matter, according to prosecutors. One advertisement shortly before the election promoted the Green Party candidate, Jill Stein, who is blamed by some Clinton backers for splitting the anti-Trump vote. In August 2016, Russian operatives communicated with Trump campaign staff in Florida through their @donaldtrump.com email address to coordinate a series of pro-Trump rallies in the states, according to Mueller, and then bought advertisements on social media to promote the events. At one rally in West Palm Beach, a Russian operative is alleged to have paid Americans to build a cage on a flatbed truck and to have an actor posing as Clinton in a prison uniform stand inside. One defendant, Irina Kaverzina, is accused of admitting her involvement in the operation and a subsequent cover-up in an email to a relative in September last year after Mueller's inquiry had begun. "We had a slight crisis here at work. The FBI busted our activity," Kaverzina allegedly wrote, "so I got preoccupied with covering tracks together with the colleagues." The Russians are also accused of working to suppress turnout among ethnic minority voters. They allegedly created an Instagram account posing as woke blacks and rallied against the notion that African Americans should choose Clinton as the lesser of two devils against Trump. In early November 2016, according to the indictment, United Muslims of America social media accounts to claim that American Muslims are boycotting elections today. Following Trump's victory, the Russian operation promoted allegations of voter fraud by the Democratic Party, according to Mueller's team. Around that time, Trump repeatedly claimed without evidence that he would have won the popular vote if not for large-scale voter fraud. The individuals charged are Mikhail Ivanovich Bystov, Mikhail Leonidovich Burchik, Alexandra Yurievna Krylova, Anna Vladislavovna Bogacheva, Sergei Pavlovich Polozov, Maria Anatolia Bovda, Robert Sergeyevich Bovda, Dezhaykin Nazimi Oguli Aslanov, Vadim Vladimirovich Podkopov, Paev, Gleb Igorovich Vasilchenkov, Irene Viktorovna Kaverzina, Yevgeny Viktorovich Prigozhinand, Vladimir Venkov. Sorry if I mispronounced any of those names. All were charged with conspiracies to defraud the United States. 3 defendants were charged with conspiracy to commit wire fraud and bank fraud, and 5 defendants were charged with aggravated identity theft. Separately, Mueller's office announced that Richard Pinedo of Santa Paula, California, had pled guilty to identity fraud. Pinedo, 28, admitted to running a website that offered stolen identities to help customers get around the security measures of major outline payment sites. It was not made clear whether his service had been used by the Russian operatives. Rosenstein said no contact had been made with the Russian authorities regarding the charges so far, but that US officials intend to seek extradition of the defendants. US intelligence agencies previously concluded that Russians mounted an attack on the US election system aimed at electing Donald Trump to the presidency. Mueller is conducting a criminal inquiry into the interference by Russians and possible conclusion by Trump's campaign. 2 Trump campaign advisors have pled guilty to lying to FBI. 2 others have been charged with federal crimes. UN investigators have long signaled the belief that Prigozhin, a 56-year-old billionaire businessman, is behind Russia's internet troll factories. Nicknamed Kremlin's chief, Prigozhin once ran Putin's favourite restaurant in St. Petersburg, after which he was awarded multi-billion-pound state catering contracts. He provided catering for Dmitry Medvedev's presidential inauguration in 2008, and also has lucrative contracts to feed Russia's army and Moscow school children. Prigozhin, who has also been linked to the Wagner Group, a shadowy Kremlin-linked private military contractor believed to be operating in Syria, was included on a US sanctions list in July. Speaking of it, RIA Novosti State News agency on Friday, Prigozhin said that Americans are really impressionable people. They see what they want to see. I have great respect for them. If they want to see the devil, let them see him. Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova called the allegations absurd. 13 people carried out interference in the US elections, 13 people against special services with a budget of billions, she wrote in a Facebook post. Vladimir Putin's spokesman Dmitry Peskov told Russian media he had not yet had a chance to study the indictments. End of the article. I'm going to end part 1 there. In the part 1. For part 2. And this time we're on CNN Travel. What passenger planes might look like in 2068. If time travellers from 1968 found themselves in an airport today, there may be plenty of changes that surprise them, but the planes would look reassuringly familiar. While there have been vast improvements in materials, engines and avionics, helping 2017 become the safest year in aviation history, commercial aircraft remain structurally similar to those in the 1960s. In fact, the Boeing 737 is one of the best-selling airliners ever in its many successive versions. For the first time in 1967. But what will my air travel look like in 50 years from now? Attempts and failures over the years. There have been some attempts to change aircraft design. Paradigm. Paradigm. The 1970s promised a future of supersonic travel that never really took hold, apart from the limited flights of the Concorde and Soviet equivalent, the Tu-144. And the idea of blended wing airliners resembling the stealth Northrop B-2 bomber has sometimes been touted but without much success so far. A combination of technical and financial reasons has led the aviation industry to discard these rather outlandish proportions and focus on the more canonical designs that are the norm today. While the next 50 years continue along the slow, steady path of the last half century, or will we once again see the rapid technology disruption that characterized aviation in the years between the end of World War I and the Apollo moon landings? Don't be fooled by the apparent lack of spectacular breakthroughs. Some big changes are in the offing. Electric Dreams. The airliner of 2068 is already in the making, and electric propulsion is set to play a major role. Most short-haul flying is likely to go electric within the next few decades, and this will transform the way we think of air travel. The small electronic motors will enable distributed propulsion, like the one found in NASA's X-57 prototype. Lower noise levels and operational costs will make it possible for electrical-powered aircraft to fly much closer to where people live and work. In fact, several of today's most advanced electrical aircraft projects aim not only to replace ground transportation between cities, but with 9 to 12 passenger Xenon and aviation concepts aim to do, but within them. Flying taxis will become a reality very soon, but it remains to be seen whether the futuristic-looking Vahana and City Airbus concepts are really the face of things to come. In any case, the door-to-door flying is not the exclusive preserve of electrical aircraft, although not a new concept. The use of tilt rotors, meaning aircraft can transition from vertical lift to fixed wings configuration, has so far been confined to pretty much the US military. However, Italian helicopter manufacturer Leonardo is now ready in a commercial launch of a civilian model, the AW609, that if successful could potentially transform executive and regional aviation automation. Global air traffic has been increasing steadily for decades, and now there are these new uses for aircraft. The question is, who's going to fly them? It is estimated that global commercial aviation industry will need some 600,000 pilots in the next 20 years, says Pascal Travers, General Manager of the Autonomy Trust at Airbus. Compare that to the approximately 200,000 pilots currently in service. This is one of the reasons automation will become very more important, he adds. Suddenly, the idea of pilotless airliners doesn't sound so far-fetched. Bjorn Fehr, an independent industry aviation expert to Liam News, refers to one pilot and half-pilot airliners, a term some industry executives already use to refer to the latest generation of aircraft. Take this concept a bit further, and in a few years, with enough automation built in, you may really need just a safety pilot to be there in case something unexpected happens, he explains. A fully pilotless airliner isn't envisaged in the foreseeable future. One of the main challenges modelling the unknowns. When unexpected happens, a human pilot should be able to react or to draw apologies with similar situations and resolve it. But it is not easy to teach a machine to take into account that many variables, says Travers. Redesigning the passenger experience. Airliner automation may not itself translate into changes in aircraft design. However, some experts see in the combinations of these new technologies in opportunities to redesign passenger experience from scratch. The emergence of electrical aircraft will lead the fuselage design that can accommodate passengers needs much better, says Victor Clarios, founder with Matthew Cleary of ACLA Studio, a California-based design studio specializing in airline cabin design. Could it be time for tailless flying wings to make a comeback? One of the issues of the flying wing was actually the passenger experience, explains Verheeren. People would be seated in an amphitheater-style cabin, many abreast and no windows. This setup, people at the edges would eventually have felt dizzy every time the aircraft turned. The dizziness depends on your visual references. You may be able to solve this by projecting images of the cabin and changing the points of reference. Even if you are able to replicate the window gazing experience, Carlios still sees a strong case for keeping windows on aircraft. Some futuristic concepts show windowless aircraft, and while there may be some structural benefits for getting rid of windows, there is also another line of thought to says the opposite, having some points of communication with the outside improves the passenger experience. It is not a coincidence that Boeing's Dreamliner is the most clean sheet design, features large windows, and that Airbus devises a cabin with transparent walls. In the vision of the future, it presented in 2011 Paris Air Show. The appeal of large windows has been taken one step further by Embraer in one of its executive jet designs. The Kyoto cabin design is for its Lineage 1000E aircraft. Features large panoramic windows running along most of the lateral walls of the cabin, going for speed. There is one area where it seems that commercial aviation has gone backwards instead of forwards. Back in the day it was possible to fly supersonic across the Atlantic, but nowadays even those with the deepest pockets have to content themselves with subsonic speeds. Some startups are working to fix this. Beam Supersonic, a startup that has Silicon Valley Incubator Y Combinator and Japan Airlines among its investors, is developing commercial aircraft that will be expected to fly at speeds of Mach 2.2 with lower costs than the Concorde. The Ariane AS2, another civilian supersonic project, this one aimed at the executive market, although it is still under development. It is already boasts a $2.4 billion order from fractional jet operator Flexjet for 20 of its AS2 planes capable of flying at Mach 1. But even those speeds pale next to the hypersonic speed envisioned by some ambitious research programs. The Spaceliner, a project led by DLR, the German Aerospace Research Institute, will travel at the edge of space in order to fly 25 times faster than the speed of sound. This way you would be able to travel from, let's say, London to Australia in about 90 minutes. Very often in aerospace the challenge is not technological but financial or operational, says Rolf Henke, Executive Board Member of Aeronautics Research at DLR, the German Aerospace Research Institute. Blended wings have already been talked about in the 1920s and hypersonic flight since the 1930s, but you need someone willing to take the risks and invest huge amounts of money. We'll get it to a point where all these different technologies coexist. We may see the market split in two clearly differentiated parts. The short and medium haul will go electric, which will happen sooner than many expect, says Francois Chapard, founder of Starburst, an investment fund consultancy that focuses on aviation innovation. For the long haul, we will have hypersonic suborbital flight that will shrink distances between continents considerably. Like, let's say Australia and Europe to Australia in under an hour, he adds. You may add this the last mile of a journey covered by electrical powered automated flying taxis such as the Vahana, ACLA Studios Carlios and Cleary see automated flight taxis become an integral part of the whole air travel experience. Some tasks like luggage checking and identity verification via biometrics could be completed on board in advance, fixing one of the major pain points of the air travel experience. Intermodality will also be key, even if concepts such as the Clipart modular cargo aircraft or Airbus flying container remain on the drawing board for now, says Sunburst's Chapard. What seems assured is that there are going to be many objects flying over our heads than there are today. End of article. Brought by the Independent. Florida shooting, FBI failed to investigate tip. Nicholas Cruz could conduct school shooting. The FBI failed to follow protocols on a trip I'll tip that Nicholas Cruz, who's suspected of opening fire at a high school shooting, might carry out a school shooting. In early January, a little over a month before the massacre in Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School killed 17 people, a person close to Mr. Cruz contacted the Bureau's public tip line to report that he could be a danger, but information was never forwarded to the FBI's Miami field office. I am committed to getting to the bottom of what's happened to in this particular matter, as well as reviewing our processes for responding to information we receive from the public, FBI Director Christopher Wray said in a statement. The call included information about Cruz's gun ownership, desire to kill people, erratic behaviour and disturbing social media posts, as well as the potential of him conducting a school shooting, the FBI said in a statement. As more information emerges about Mr. Cruz, law enforcement officials are facing intensifying questions about whether they missed warning signs. The FBI acknowledged that if it had received a separate tip about an online commenter under the moniker Nicholas Cruz saying, "I'm going to be a professional school shooter." End of article. From The Guardian again. Home ownership among young adults has collapsed, study finds. The chances of finding a young adult on a middle income owning a home in the UK has more than halved in the past 2 decades. New research from the Institute of Fiscal Studies shows how an explosion in house prices above income growth has increasingly robbed the younger generation of the ability to buy their own homes. For 25 to 35 year olds earning between $22,200 and $30,600 per year, home ownership fell to just 27% in 2016 from 65% 2 decades ago. Middle income young adults born in the late 80s are now no more likely than those born down the pay scale to own their own homes. Those born in the 70s are almost as likely as their peers on higher wages to have bought their own homes during young adulthood. Andrew Hood, a senior research economist at the IFS, said home ownership among young adults has collapsed over the past 20 years, particularly for those on middle income. IFS said young adults from wealthy backgrounds are now significantly more likely than others to own their own home. Between 2014 and 2017, roughly 30% of 25 to 35, 40, 34-year-olds whose parents were in lower scale jobs such as delivery drivers or sales assistants own their own homes, versus 43% of the children of those higher scale jobs such as lawyers and teachers. The study shows a growing disparity between rich and poor, as well as young and old. Across the country, it also illustrates a drop in home ownership over the past decade, while those on middle incomes have seen the largest fall in ownership rates. Those in the top income brackets have been least affected. Chancellor Philip Hammond placed helping young buyers to get on the property ladder at the heart of the November budget. This came after the Conservatives failed to win the overall majority in last year's election, as young voters flocked to Labour. The government abolished stamp duty to the majority of the first-time buyers, but was widely criticised after the Independent Office for Budget Responsibility warned it would push up house prices, benefiting those who already owned homes. John Healey, the Shadow Housing Secretary, said the report was a wake-up call for Tories after almost 8 years of failure on housing. The government is still failing to tackle the fundamental problems of our broken housing markets, he said. Home occupation rates in Britain have steadily been steadily declining since 2003, when the proportion of people owning their homes reached its peak of 71%, having risen steadily since the 1980s. Population growth, a lack of new house building, the failure to replace social housing sold on the right to buy, and rising property prices have resulted in the figures dropping to 63%. So much. I'm gonna say in there, and yeah, but in the podcast free, and here we go with BBC News Twitter. Starting off with UK. Chris onwards, I want to look him in the eye just to get that closure, and hopefully he'll just say life in prison. Barwell will be sentenced on Monday. Luxembourg agrees to withdraw government funding bids. Parents Kelsey with babies near fatal life-changing injuries. Charlie Pierce marks 70th birthday with animalistic rape. Now is not the time for us to reduce cooperation. UK Prime Minister Theresa May and security partnership with EU. Can't see. No problem, just climb on top on I think they were kind of talking about the referee in the Olympics. I wanted to kind of climb up the net to kind of see what was going on. Child with Down syndrome left on Penarth school bus. One of all the trees in Wales falls down. West Brom are investigating after 4 senior players were involved in an incident on their training trip to Spain this week. More prisoners to be freed with TAG as early release schemes simplified. Portuguese President mourns Westminster homeless man. Jamaica's women's bobsleigh team qualified for the Winter Olympics for the first time. The coach quits and takes the sled with her. A new sled is donated by a beer company. Now the BBC sense a new movie coming along. At halfway point, the women's skeleton of the women's skeleton, the Brits are in 3rd and 4th place. Where are these? Just nailed her 2nd run. British man charged with terror offences. Young seafood recalls fish cakes over plastic and metal fears. Uber is spotting crimes. Direct to police to boost safety. So it's kind of the Tesco's Cardiff call centre closes with loss of 1,100 jobs. Man charged with Aylesbury policeman attempted murder. Marshville barrister dies in crash en route to court. LFC fans create Albi Muslim 2 chant for Egyptian star Mohamed Salah. MP1 urgent funding needing to reserve prison decline. Theresa May to hold talks with Angela Merkel in Berlin. year-round school meals to tackle holiday hunger. Britain's bush coverage hits 28-year low. Mid-earners locked out of buying a home. Report proposes 10,000 for everyone under 55. Top women doctors lose out in NHS pay stakes. Winter Olympics, Great Britain's Don Parson wins skeleton bronze medal in Pyeongchang. Lecturers want a radical tuition fee review. Scale rates in terrifying attack in Bannockburn. Recruitment agency sorry non-British job gaff. Alex McLeish, Scotland replaced Gordon Strachan with former boss. Boy rescued from waist-deep mud on the Solway coast. Jane Collins defamation case, UKIP delayed case. Moving on to BBC News World. Oldest world number one in tennis history, Roger Federer has beaten Robin Haase at the Rotterdam Open. How a US grandmother foiled an alleged school shooting plot. Russian conducted information warfare on US election. Female driver leads LA police on high-speed chase. Rio de Janeiro violence, Brazil army to take control of security. Ethiopia declares national state of emergency. European spy chiefs in joint plea for post-Brexit cooperation. Merkel, curious not frustrated after Theresa May meeting. Facebook told to stop tracking in Belgium. DR Congo, troops killed in Virunga Park by Rwandan army. Mazda Araujo, murder colleagues donate plea to mother. Florida school students share tales of heroism. Millions celebrate Lunar New Year, as is Chinese New Year today. 6 Turkish journalists jailed for life for coup links. Nirav Modi, who's India's scandal links billionaire. Chemicals in everyday household products, now key contributor to city air pollution, US research finds. Romney launches comeback with Trump blast. Haven't heard from him for a while. Couple surprised each other by proposing at the same time. US figure skater Nathan Chen was going for gold at Pyeongchang until his dreams took a tumble, or 3. New York ex-teacher and twin arrested for bomb making. 6 gold for the Netherlands. Esme Reza won women's 5,000 meter speed skating. Uzbek nurses, firefighters told to get on their bikes. US screenwriter Bess Bell calls out senators praying for Florida school shooting victims by highlighting money they received from the gun lobby. Syria conflict, US and Turkey agree to avert Manbij clash. Diary Welch reporters freed from Turkey jail. World record, Australia chases down 244 with 7 balls to spare. Highest successful run chase in T20 international history. Results mean England cricket can still qualify for the Tri-Series final. Dario Carnia wins the cross-country skiing 15km freestyle for a third time. Woman held for posing as groom for a dowry. The Indian man who shares his house with leopards and bears. Scary. Winter Olympics, Swiss athletes hit by norovirus outbreak. Florida shooting, Nicholas Cruz confesses to police. $100,000 orangutans killed in 16 years. Barnaby Joyce, Australia PM Prime Minister's remarks inept, deputy says. Jennifer Aniston and Justin Theroux announced separation. UK and US blame Russia for malicious NotPetya cyber attack. Viewpoint chemical weapons to the threat to the West. It's based in good or bad for business. The Black Magic bank heist. Immigration efforts to protect Dreamers collapse in US Senate. One side wants to talk about gun control, the other focuses on mental health and school security. If passed, is any guide Washington will do nothing. Boycotted burglary in China with unexpected results. Bannon stonewalled congressman during committee hearing. And part 3 end of video.